Chapter 16. The Feral Heist. Traveling swiftly down dark, dirty alleyways and back streets, a shadow moves with not one sound. Over guarded walls and past man checkpoints, a small girl appears for just a split second. She is a cute young girl wearing a feral cat rig with dirty blonde fur feet and calico paws. She has a long, thin tail with short, dirty blonde fur curling gently back and forth. Her identity is hidden by a cat mask worn over her mouth and nose. Her thin, furry tail drops swiftly, then rises straight up as she crouches down deep on all fours. In that one moment, two of the men see her and go to alert the others, but before they can utter one syllable, she pounces, launching herself from 25 feet away. As she flies towards them, she opens her arms wide, extends her claws, and garrotes both of their throats so deeply they can't even mutter a sound. Then she catches their bodies and gently lowers them down, silently resting them on the ground. She watches the spark of life fade from their eyes as they release their last gurgled breaths. Grief and remorse wash over her face at the sight. "I killed two men," she confesses through clenched teeth, with tears welling up in her eyes. Then she steadies herself and leaps back into the darkness, knowing she must press on. She is here for a truly important reason. She has a mission that she must complete, so before anyone can notice, she leaps back up into the shadows and flies over 3 more guards in absolute silence. "Bodies! I've left the bodies," she thinks to herself as she flies from a post to a wall, then to a darkened spot on the ground. She rolls and leaps high to the top of another 15-foot wall. Then she realizes something else. "Those bodies will alert everyone to my presence. The clock is now ticking," she thinks to herself, and she quickens her pace. With one more powerful leap, she flies towards a building and lands silently against the edge of a wall with one paw on a second-story window ledge. Looking back, she verifies that none of the watchmen have caught wind of her infiltration. She carefully pulls her body up to peek into the corner of the window and sees a man looking away from the window, speaking with a woman who is facing the window. After a few seconds, the lady picks up a glass and takes a drink. Quickly, she places both hands on the windowsill and positions her hind paws high up, close to the windowsill, and launches herself straight up 2 more stories. Now on the 4th-story window ledge, she tenses her ears, activating their enhanced hearing system. No chatter at first, then she hears hurried steps towards the window below. "I think something just passed by the window," says a voice as it approaches the window. Again, she peeks into the open window. This time, she finds 3 men surrounding a young, blue-haired woman in some sort of futuristic robe. She's chained and gagged, sitting in a chair, and there's a 4th man, also in robes, lying on the ground behind them. With no time before this second-floor group sees her, she pulls herself into the 4th-story window, rolling over the sill and gently dropping onto the floor against the wall. The man facing her looks directly at her and gasps before attempting to shout. She jumps up, cutting a flip as she flies towards the men. In her descent, she opens her tuck and kicks downwards, driving her right hind paw into the man's face. At the same time, she tosses a dagger into the farthest man's neck, then buries the claws on her hands deep into the back of the other men's necks. The man with a broken nose begins to curse her, "You bitch," but freezes as her bloody claws stop just short of lacerating his face. A few drops fly from her claws and splash onto his cheek as she demands, "Where's the scroll?" "I'll tell you nothing," he defiantly says. Then she looks at the young Asian woman sitting, bound in the chair. "Who are you?" she asks with her left claws still extended towards the man with the broken nose. She reaches down and cuts the gag off with a single claw swipe. "Who are you?" she sternly answers with a question of her own, her eyes burning with the lilac fire. "I am a shady cat, sent here to retrieve the scroll And the catalyst, the sneaky cat girl responds firmly. Well, the scroll was supposed to be with him, says the recently ungagged girl, motioning to the man on the floor. Sadly, they killed him and never found it on him, so I can't say as to where the scroll might be. However, he said that I was a key. I still don't understand what that means, but he told me I was the key element to opening a gate. The furry mech rogue retracts her claws and slams her fist into the man's face, knocking him out cold. Then she slices the ropes binding the young blue-haired mage. Get up! We have to go, she says. Then she stops for a second and smiling says, My name's Lizzie, by the way. Thanks, Lizzie. Maeve, it's a pleasure, the young lady responds. We have to find that scroll fast, Lizzie snaps, her eyes darting back and forth. I was given this and told that rubbing it on the catalyst would help me find the scroll. Afterwards, she looks around again, then turns back to Maeve. Try rubbing this with your hands, she suggests. Maeve places her hands on the smooth round stone and gently rubs it. The stone begins to vibrate slightly in pulsating waves. After a few seconds, these waves begin intensifying until they reach a constant, strong vibration with a high-pitched, high-frequency ringing. Suddenly, the stone shatters and all the pieces separate and levitate, then slowly reform into a crystalline scroll in Maeve's hands. Maeve stands there for a second looking at the beautiful, shiny blue scroll in utter disbelief. Finally, she looks up at Lizzie with a huge grin. She laughs out loud, realizing how Lizzie's jaw has dropped. Wow! Lizzie begins. It's beautiful, Maeve. Looking over to Lizzie, Maeve agrees. It truly is. Thank you, Lizzie. Afterwards, she looks back at it and says, I can feel its power. It's incredible. Lizzie holds out her paw. Congratulations. I have to read it now, Maeve insists. Just then, several more men show up and bust into the room. Give us that scroll, one of them shouts. They all attack Maeve at once, but Lizzie smashes the first one with her appendage arm. The scroll is too powerful. We cannot let them get their hands on it. Go! Lizzie screams as she gets slammed in the face by a staff. She falls to the ground and Maeve turns to run away with the scroll. Lizzie bounces right back up onto her feet and throws her arms out to her sides, extending her claws. It'll take more than that, hotshot. As soon as she shouts this, another group of reinforcements arrive and jump into the fray. Now outnumbered and surrounded, Lizzie shifts into overdrive. She flips and kicks, then rolls and dodges. Next, she throws a series of attacks, and soon she whittles them down. Immediately afterwards, out of nowhere, another group of casters shows up and launches a second assault. The first attack is a wide area firestorm spell cast by a wizard, and this spell catches Lizzie inside of it, effectively trapping her. This attack is followed by a mage who sends multiple lightning blasts at her. The first bolt is absorbed by the appendage system and converted to power for the battery. However, each successive bolt hits directly into the suit and lights Lizzie up badly. She screams and jerks violently each time she's struck. The last bolt fries the circuitry of her rig and it powers down. Shit! She screams as she unlocks from her harness and ditches her prized rig. After escaping the rig, she rolls away and drops the smoke bomb. I have to get out of here now before they see me, she whispers to herself. Following this, she immediately heads towards where she saw Maeve run. She heads through the door and down a hallway, and then makes another turn and finds no one there.